The Galactic Council chamber stretched across 3 kilometers of polished obsidian, its vaulted ceiling lost in artificial stars. 2,000 seats rose in concentric circles, each occupied by a representative of the known civilizations, except one. Earth's seat remained empty. Ambassador Zixthar of the Krell Dominion had served on the council for 40 standard years, and in all that time, the human seat had never been filled. The brass nameplate gleamed under the chamber lights. Earth, Terran Systems. But no one sat there. No one ever had. The trade sanctions against the peripheral colonies will now be. High Chancellor Vrintha paused mid-sentence as a junior aide scuttled across the chamber floor. Breach of protocol that made several representatives hiss in displeasure. The aide whispered something to the Chancellor. The color drained from her crystalline features. "The session is postponed," she announced, her voice fractured like breaking glass. "All representatives are to remain in the chamber. We have received word from Earth." A murmur rippled through the assembly. Zixthar felt his dorsal spine stiffen involuntarily. In 4 decades, this had never happened. "They're coming?" someone asked from the upper tiers. "No," the Chancellor said quietly. "They're already here." The chamber's main doors, massive structures that required 6 gravity servos to open, swung inward as if they weighed nothing. A single figure walked through. She was human, unmistakably so. Average height by their standards, wearing a simple gray suit that seemed almost primitive compared to the ornate dress of other representatives. Her dark hair was pulled back severely, and her eyes, those predator eyes that sat forward in the skull, swept across the chamber with calculating precision. "I am Director Sarah Chen of the Terran Administrative Authority," she said, her voice carrying despite the chamber's vastness. "I apologize for our prolonged absence from council proceedings." Zixthar watched as she walked down the center aisle, her footsteps echoing in the sudden silence. She didn't go to Earth's seat. Instead, she stopped at the chamber's central podium, where only the High Chancellor was permitted to stand. No one stopped her. "Many of you have wondered why Earth's seat remains empty," Chen continued. "You've theorized. Some of you believe we're primitives, too unsophisticated for galactic politics. Others think we're isolationists, content to ignore the broader universe." She smiled, and Zixthar felt his blood chill. Both assumptions are dangerously incorrect. She touched the podium, and the chamber's holographic display activated. Another breach of protocol that no one dared challenge. A star map appeared, showing the known galaxy. 2,000 systems glowed in various colors, representing different civilizations and alliances. "This is what you see," Chen said. "Your territories, your trade routes, your conflicts." She touched the display again. The map changed. Zixthar felt his breathing tubes constrict. The new map showed the same galaxy, but now it was covered in a web of thin red lines connecting nearly every inhabited system, and at each junction, invisible before, was a small marker bearing Earth's symbol. "This is what we see," Chen said softly. 300 years ago, when you first made contact with Earth, you offered us a seat on this council. How generous, you thought. How magnanimous to include these newcomers." Her expression hardened. "What you didn't know was that we'd already been watching you for 800 years. The chamber erupted in shouts and accusations. Chen waited, unmoved, until silence grudgingly returned. "The seat remained empty because we were never in the council," she explained. "We were around it. Through it. In your supply chains, your communication networks, your defense systems. That technician who serviced your flagship last rotation, human. The efficiency consultant who streamlined your logistics, human. The artists, the musicians, the traders in every major port," she paused, "human." Zixthar's mind raced back through the years. The unassuming freighter crew who'd once repaired his vessel. The quiet engineer who'd upgraded the council's security systems. The pleasant merchant who'd sold him that exquisite sculpture now sitting in his quarters. All of them could have been. "You've been spying on us?" Ambassador Kreenoth of the Halix Empire surged to his feet, his forearms spread in outrage. "This is an act of war." "No," Chen corrected calmly. "This is an act of survival. Do you know what we learned in those first years of observation? We learned that every species in this galaxy achieved spaceflight through cooperation. Your histories speak of unity, of coming together to reach the stars." Her expression darkened. "Earth achieved spaceflight while in the middle of a global war. We reached the moon while pointing nuclear weapons at ourselves. We built stations in orbit while half our planet starved. She let that sink in. We are not like you, Chen continued. We are not noble or enlightened. We are survivors of 10,000 generations of competition, of predation, of fighting for every scrap of advantage in an ecosystem that tried to kill us at every turn. So when we saw this council with its politics and its intrigue and its barely concealed hostilities, we understood something you didn't. She zoomed the display in on the council chamber itself. The red lines converged here, forming a dense network. We understood that the moment we sat in that chair, we would become just another piece on your board, another civilization to manipulate, to form alliances against, to eventually dominate or destroy. Chen's voice dropped. So we chose a different path. We became the board itself. High Chancellor Vrintha found her voice. What do you want from us? Nothing, Chen said simply. We want you to continue exactly as you have been. Trade freely, form your alliances, wage your carefully limited wars. We'll keep doing what we've been doing, facilitating, mediating, observing. She smiled again, that predator's smile. But now you know. Now you understand why that seat stays empty. It's not because we're absent. It's because we're everywhere else. She turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and one more thing. 6 of your civilizations are currently planning military actions against their neighbors. 4 of you are developing weapons in violation of council treaties. And 3 of you have been conspiring to overthrow the current chancellor. She glanced back over her shoulder. We know, we've always known. Remember that. Director Sarah Chen walked out of the chamber, leaving 2,000 representatives staring at the empty chair that had terrified them, precisely because it had never needed to be filled. Zixthar looked at the holographic display, still showing the red web of human influence spanning the galaxy. His hands trembled as he finally understood. The humans hadn't been excluded from galactic power. They'd been holding it all along.